Good morning, MacLaren. Today is Wednesday, August 26th, 2020. The weather today, mostly sunny early with scattered thunderstorms developing later in the day. High near 90 degrees Fahrenheit, chance of rain 40%. Take heart, my friends. Get through today and tomorrow, and by Friday, you are looking at a very temperate and mild high of just 81 degrees. You are almost there. Sun rose this morning at 6:23 a.m. and will set at 7:37. Couple of announcements from pandemic world. First of all, we just all need to keep remembering to give each other space. Please walk on one side of the hallway. You need to give lots of space to the other cohorts. Please do not hang out by the cubbies. Get your things, head back to your classroom or head out. And a reminder about wearing a mask. So your mask does not work if it doesn't cover your nose. So when you're wearing a mask, if it's down here, you're not really, there's no point in you wearing it. It needs to be up over your nose. So if you are finding it hard or stuffy to wear a mask, just let your teacher know. And maybe your teacher can work out some more times for your class to go outside and get a break from just take a mask break. That is just fine. But when you are inside the building or whenever your teachers are giving you the direction, you need to have the mask on correctly, please. Meanwhile, I am hearing some running in the halls. Please do not run in the halls. Okay. We will have another Spirit Day tomorrow so that our upper school friends in the B cohort can also have a Spirit Day, which means you all get to have a second Spirit Day. Also tomorrow, we will have a fire drill. So in the afternoon, we will have our first ever COVID World Fire Drill. This is going to be a tricky one because usually we're working on being very fast and efficient, and we get outside and it goes great. This is gonna go slowly because you have to keep a really clear distance from other cohorts. So it'll just take a while. Just know that when that alarm goes off and makes that horrible beeping sound and that recorded attention sound, it's just a drill, and we do that every month to practice. Okay, the slide that is up right now shows a suffragist. That is somebody who is trying to get the right to vote. So that is because it was on this date, 100 years ago, August 20th, 1920, that the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution took effect. And we still commemorate this today, August 26th, in the United States is Women's Equality Day to commemorate the 19th Amendment. And that was first designated by President Richard Nixon in 1972, then by Congress in 1973, and now it's proclaimed every year by the US President. So you can see this suffragist has a sign that says, "Help us win the vote." And these women are saying, we demand an amendment to the United States Constitution. So the only way that women could get the right to vote was if the whole Constitution was amended or changed. And so people worked on that for a long time and were successful. And all their work came to fruition on this day exactly 100 years ago. Meanwhile, another thing that happened on this date, much more alarming, is something that happened in the island nation of Indonesia. Indonesia, of course, is made of many islands. And within those islands, there used to be a place called Krakatoa. And Krakatoa was a volcanic island. It was uninhabited. Nobody lived there. And some months before this, in May of 1833, Krakatoa started making strange sounds. It started booming and rumbling, and it had been dormant, it had been asleep for hundreds of years before this. But these sounds started rumbling and coming out of this island, and people were worried, but they didn't know what to do about it. And on this day, August 26th in 1883, Krakatoa began to erupt, and it sent ash clouds for miles and miles and miles into the sky above the island, and then it really fully began to erupt the next day, August 27th. The explosions were massive. The blasts, I have read some places that this was the loudest noise ever in human history. There were louder volcanic eruptions before human history, but people have written that this would have been the loudest in human history. The people could hear it thousands of miles away. They could hear a booming sound. People in Australia thought that a war had started. Right? You can see Australia is quite a ways across the Indian Ocean from Indonesia. The eruption caused these huge tsunamis, these giant waves that were more than 100 feet tall and crashing inland onto Java and Sumatra, and they did terrible damage. They killed thousands of people. There's one incredible story of survival that comes from a man who worked in an office that was, so his office building was on top of a tall hill, and his office building was tall. And so when the tsunami started coming in, everyone in his office climbed up to the top floor of the office on this high hill, and the water was still as high as they were and came and swept him along. And he looked over to his side, and sliding along the wave with him was a huge crocodile. And he thought, I am going to drown in this tsunami. The only way to save myself is to climb onto this crocodile. So the man said later that he jumped onto the crocodile, stuck his fingers in its eyes to hold on tight, and he surfed on the back of the crocodile for miles. And then the wave broke, left him at the top of a hill, and the crocodile washed back away, and the man ran off and survived. This was, again, a really devastating event. It was such a big explosion that the sun, no one could see the sun for days. The sky was so blacked out. And the cloud of ash really changed the atmospheric conditions around the whole world. People in Nicaragua, on the other side of the ocean, in Latin America, said that the sun turned blue that day. And here's another, this one is an actual photograph of the ash cloud. And afterwards, the devastation was so vast that the island was pretty much just gone. Amazingly, the change in the atmosphere that happened all around the world, we still have records of it today. So the wonderful English poet Gerard Manley Hopkins, was he English or was he Irish? I can't remember. I think he was English. Hopkins wrote that, and he was living in London at the time, so again, thousands of miles away from Krakatoa, but he wrote that the glow is intense. It has prolonged the daylight and optically changed the season. It bathes the whole sky. It is mistaken for the reflection of a great fire. And famously, this painting, probably one of the most famous paintings in the whole world by Edvard Munch, called The Scream, shows a sunset that scientists have definitively said that Munch painted this painting of an intense sunset at the time of the Krakatoa eruption. And so this is in Scandinavia, right? This is really on the other side of the world. And even there, thousands and thousands of miles away, the sun was so changed, the sky was so changed by all the volcanic ash in the atmosphere that Munch captured it in this painting here. And finally, there was so much debris in the atmosphere that the normal amount of sunlight couldn't reach Earth, and so the whole world got cooler the next year, and it stayed like that for several years. Temperatures didn't return to normal for I think 4 or 5 years afterwards. So Krakatoa, very scary volcanic explosion. That is all I have for you today. If it is your birthday today, August 26, 2020, happy birthday. If you are here, please stand up, let your classmates clap for you. And if you are at home, go ahead and stand up and let your family and let us here at school clap for you. I hope you all have a day of kindness, friendliness, and peace. Folks, we are all in this together. Take care. We'll see you soon.